He was once praised as a prodigy of magic, but now suffers humiliating house arrest. That person is Rian, the youngest of the Sachming clan, a renowned family across the continent. From his first babbled words, he was cursed by the demon King Aiken, making him lose all combat and spellcasting ability. That once powerful clan slowly declined, until the family faced extinction after his father died. The elder brothers also mysteriously disappeared. Just as everything collapsed, Rai was bound and captured by Patong, tortured to his final breath. But when consciousness flickered, he realized he no longer belonged to the human realm, but stood in a land of endless war, a place called the Arena of the Gods, a Dayan, where spirit lords choose their pawns. They pull foreign souls from the universe here, giving each a random survival profession. With countless primordial beasts lurking, no one lasts more than 7 days, yet Ryan somehow activated the ultimate profession, becoming the Ghost King, mastering all assassination paths, from spirit summoning arts to undead control. Thus he survived with ease, over 3 months in a sea of blood, but his second challenge cycle soon ended, after dueling an apocalypse god. Though the result was still defeat, his journey did not end there. Before turning to ash, that god granted him one wish. When he opened his eyes again, Ryan returned to age 12, still carrying his player privileges. Just then a voice by his ear woke him. Before him was a worried girl shaking him. Ling. Her voice rang out, startling him. He bolted up as Ling panicked and tried to stop him. He stared at her, his childhood nanny of the Sachming clan standing there. Sunlight hit the clan manor, hinting at something strange. He hurriedly asked for a mirror, and she obeyed. A youthful face appeared in the reflection. Ryan asked the date, and she replied it was 1781-892 Recolender. He stared at his hands. Stunned, was it truly that year? Sweat fell. It was the moment he turned 12. Memories of the consuming fire flashed. Small sparks surrounded him. Omen of the Sachming calamity. The clan was entering the path of destruction by Patung. A Dayan's image returned with the granted wish. He bit his lip, confirming he had truly returned. Footstep came with a cold snort. An old man entered, scolding him for not rising. Rian's eyes widened, recognizing him. In his heart he called him Handro, leader of the Sachming Knights. He waved a hand, saying the young master could skip training today. Ling was about to excuse herself when he cut in firmly. Hearing that, she froze in surprise. Hanzo also stared at his unusual reaction. Ryan smirked with confidence, saying he was fine. He turned to the man and asked today's training. The instructor replied, amazed that it was basic sword forms. Seeing him leap up, Hanzo doubted it was really him. Rian grabbed the wooden sword, claiming he had truly changed. The man stood silent, recalling the wish to reverse time. The shadow of the Dark King appeared behind him as Ryan spoke of hunting. His eyes burned with resolve to rewrite fate. Morning light bathed the Sachming estate, heralding a new start. A status panel appeared. Level 1, low stats, and in strength lingering curse. He silently rejoiced that his player powers remained intact. When Handro announced preparations were done, he closed the panel. They all headed to the wide training yard. A goblin roared, waiting to face him. Seeing Ru Yun, panicked and charged wildly. He raised his sword, making it hesitate in fear. Hanzu, Ling, and the servants watched from afar. She begged him to stop the match, certain the young master would faint. And indeed, just yesterday he had been that weak. Ru Yun closed his eyes, sinking deep into his mind. When he opened them, blue light flickered as he affirmed he had changed. The system warned the curse had activated. Fear level indicators for the monster spiked. Terror wrapped around him but no longer broke him, and Handro watched and sighed heavily. He urged ending the session here, but Ru Yun refused, saying it wasn't enough. He advanced, making the goblin shriek and charge. Fear surged, turning his face pale. He reflexively stumbled back a few steps. Ru Yun inhaled deeply, steadying his aura, reminding himself had changed. He affirmed the curse was nothing compared to past perils. The goblin lunged with feral eyes. A flash of the proud god Adayan crossed his mind. Despite the unseen pressure, he held firm. He leapt up, swinging in a burst of blue light. The strike made the goblin collapse to its knees. Everyone froze at his unexpected strength. The system declared he had surpassed the fear tier. The curse decreased by 1 level. The wooden sword snapped, and the goblin clutched its head in agony. Ru Xian focused on the stats appearing before him. The system confirmed he was no longer terror-bound toward monsters. He requested a real sword, and Handro drew one, making Ling almost collapse in fright. Ru Yun turned back with a bold, heroic smile. The man blushed with emotion, sensing hope for the clan. The goblin trembled at the sight of the steel blade. Ru Yun gripped the hilt, blue light blazing as he struck down. Blood splattered, yet he stayed cold and focused. An art felt hope ignite and told Ling to watch closely. Ru Yun swung again, blood proving a true hair had resin. Morning light filled his room as if calling a new beginning. He washed his face, wiping off the lingering blood. The mirror showed a satisfied smile after victory. A glimpse of his past self flashed, his system still fully functional. He affirmed he could now surpass the curse and grow. Ru Xianwell raised his hand and opened the status panel again. The system reported increased experience, but he was dissatisfied. Progress still too slow. The approaching doom of his clan made him anxious. Ru Hun gritted his teeth. At least he had found a way to break the curse. He looked at the system panel, determined not to lose the moment. At present, his father and brothers had been missing for 2 years. Though chaotic, the clan still held prestige, the deadly plot yet to erupt. He clenched his fist. He had grasped the first leveling method, and now it was time to test the second. A reed-haired masked girl suddenly appeared. Clear sky and sunlight spilled through the guest room window. Ru-yun faced the girl as Sina mentioned the goblin incident. She skeptically asked if he truly summoned her to learn magic. Ru-yun considered she was the clan's magic leader, a rare seven-circle mage with a mysterious aura. None but the clan chief knew her origin or true power. Sina mocked that magic was unlike swordplay and he was talentless. Ru-yun calmly admitted the curse once stripped all his gifts, but now he said he could sense mana. Sina was stunned speechless. The steaming teacup sat silently as if watching. Sina cast a spell to test him. She said the image before him appeared only through mana. If he spoke truth, he must identify it. Ru-yun answered it was a graceful red dragon. Sina froze, and when he asked if he was wrong, she blushed and denied it. She said he had changed, yet sensing mana on her level should show something else. She questioned what he had done to break the ancestral curse. Ru-yun cut her off, calling her by name Sina. He said he could feel mana but could not use clan methods, thus needed her aid. Sina returned with unexpected seriousness. He reminded himself that without mana accumulation he couldn't act, and alchemy was the only path. She sighed, asking if he'd tried. She sternly warned that draining mana for alchemy ravages the body. It meant entrusting his life to her. Ru-yun narrowed his lips with a vague smile. He joked if she meant to kill him. Sina panicked, and he laughed that he couldn't resist her anyway. He thought she was the only one he could rely on. Memories of Sina from his past life stayed etched in him. The moment when his mana ran dry and his body neared collapse. She protected him until her last breath. That memory made him call her name with sincerity. He reached out, expressing absolute trust. The room fell into heavy silence. Ru-yun knelt, bare, preparing for alchemy. The air grew grim as Sina's voice signaled the start. The blue earth alchemy art was meant for direct lineage. She knew theory, but he applied it at once, in a diet. Ru had used it to level up and raise thresholds. He glanced aside and Sina snapped at him to focus. He replied. She warned the pain would be brutal, forbidding screams or thrashing. If he couldn't endure, he must choose to stop. Hearing the pain's extent, Ru-yun hesitated. Darkest tragedies of his life surged back. San's cold smile and cruelty resurfaced. His hatred rose above the pain ahead. Ru shouted that he had already said he trusted her. Sina steadied herself and began the rite. She increased mana, filling the space with blazing red light. Ru-yun's body convulsed as luminous veins burst forth. The aching curse roared to life. Mana inside him flooded like a storm. Sina focused fully, confirming the curse behaved as legends said, and as she expected. She chose to push in excess mana. The curse reactivated repeatedly. His inner system reported the curse draining mana, but Sina's flow overwhelmed it. The outcome was near. In Ru-yul's mind rose the thought that even a seven-circle mage was helpless before this supreme curse. But with the Dayan's method, it differed. Let the curse shatter mana and block it at the instant of rupture. Then he could fool the curse and retain mana within. Sina sensed anomaly, calling him as mana stopped leaking out. It looked as if the cultivation was bending in a strange direction, as though directly confronting the Aiken curse. Alerts flooded, curse activating, then being forcibly halted. Ru-yun felt his mana channels burning. He clenched his teeth, defying the screaming pain. Torture scenes from his life surged back. He realized he had endured this pain tens of thousands of times. He had once been a master rank player in Aiden coma. Ru-yun understood mana better than any survivor, for that knowledge lay in the soul, not flesh. Lost in thought, he spoke of Aiken though they'd never met. To him, the Demon King's curse was a joke beside God Dayan. Power in his body neared its limit. Sina maintained control of the mana flow, but the strain caused his condition to drop quickly. He collapsed to the ground amid Sina's panicked cries. Pain eroded his consciousness, yet he clung to clarity. Bloody memories of the past pounded back. The cruel claim that he was just a test subject of Satchming. They once discussed cutting off his hand to test regeneration, then killing him. A blade swept in to end his life. Suddenly a figure blocked the strike. The strong build stunned Ru-yun. He heard guards shouting of an intruder. That windy moonlit night was chillingly silent. Everything blurred like an inescapable nightmare. When Ru-yun awoke, a gentle voice checked on him. Hen-ark appeared, covered in wounds. He softly apologized for arriving too late. Ru-yun lit up with hope, asking if he came to save him. Hen-ark, gravely hurt, still answered with his last strength. His warm voice repeated the apology, making Rui weep with gratitude and emotion. He snapped awake from the horrific dream. Pent-up emotions made him unable to hold back tears. Though alchemy succeeded, the trauma weighed on him. He vowed it would never happen again. Now he had grasped a true survival method, but it must remain absolutely secret, especially from the Padoan clan, the most dangerous foe now. His thought turned to hastening Satchming's fall before they struck. Clear sky and drifting clouds hovered above the Sek-Min estate. Ru-yun sat up, wryly claiming the alchemy had failed. Sina turned back, astonished. Henzuo also blurted in shock. The three fell silent, thickening the awkward air. Ru-yun bit his lip, thinking he must not tell the truth despite guilt. Not to hide, but because saying it would help no one. He smiled lightly, saying expectations pushed him to try, but he still sensed no mana. Ru-yun extended his hand for Sina to check. She hurried over, asking permission though baffled by his denial. Sina summoned inner fire, focusing mana. She clasped his small hand to channel energy. In moments, massive mana burst through her body. She glared, gritting her teeth, demanding to know what was happening. Ru-yun simply smiled at the flickering sparks. Sina pulled away, stammering that his mana had truly vanished. She remembered clearly it had been present yesterday. She staggered out in disappointment, and Ru-yun softly called after her, and Handro froze as the door slammed behind her. He turned back, raising a fist to encourage Ru Yun, saying he could still pursue sword arts. Ru Yun's hand shook as he said he could no longer repeat it. Even eating was hard. Hearing that, Hanzu stood stunned, speechless. His face darkened at once. Time passed, yellow leaves piling on the manor porch. 2 months later, winter returned, blanketing the land white. Ling opened the grand doors and stepped out. She tearfully wiped her eyes because the young master still wouldn't leave his room. The Sekmin clan struggled without a leader. The maiden bore it alone though her strength waned. A butler asked, and she said the young master remained absent in his chamber. He sighed that for 3 months had refused any training. A maid added that such sudden change might be a death omen, just a one-night dream. Though afraid, Ling loudly defended him, saying he tried for everyone. Another voice cut in, saying the clan was collapsing, and not only the household scorned him, across the Darrow kingdom, they called him the fool of a dying line. Ling protested fiercely, saying judging a 12-year-old was cruel. The butler coldly said higher hopes meant deeper disappointment. A maid sighed that many servants had left and she planned to quit too. Her question of what she should do made Ling even sadder. Ru Yun set his knife down, deeply pondering. He realized declining meal quality meant the clan's finances were failing. His eyes flashed just as had planned. He thought the old him would have wasted money to revive the clan. But now, with a Dayan experience, he had another path. He chose to lie low so foes would relax their guard. Then the moment to retaliate would come close. The clan had declined since the chief and his brothers vanished. The once bustling arena grew desolate. Only weak swordsmen and dispirited servants remained. Noble envoys who sought alliance left. They withdrew the moment chaos enveloped the place. Thus Ru Yun could train in seclusion without suspicion, but the fall progressed slower than expected, so he planned to accelerate it. Ling suddenly rushed in, shouting his name. She said it was training time and the instructor was waiting. Ru Yun turned pale. Looking helplessly at her, he yanked the blanket over his head, saying he'd lose again today. Ling scowled and ripped the blanket from him. Her hand slowly reached toward him. Ru Yun was lifted on her back. She was determined to carry him no matter what. She insisted she wouldn't let him abandon the clan. Then she ran out with him, making him give a wry laugh. Outside the castle, cool wind swept across the yard, and Handro barked that he held the sword wrong. He advised that sensing mana again was enough, as this sword style gathered energy with one strike. Ru Yun grimaced because Sina also wouldn't give up. He wanted to answer their loyalty but had to hide his knight training. He used a body dominance skill to mask it, an assassination art from a Dayan. For now he could activate it only crudely. The system reported fresh experience gained. Stamina rose by 1, and strength points increased. Ru Yun paled at the implication. He rushed off claiming he needed the restroom, leaving Hanzo confused. Dim mist filled the room. Ru Yun stood before the mirror. Noting strong motion disrupted his dominant state, he worried and opened the status panel. It showed Ru Yun Shadman 3, Agility 11, Mana 10, Strength 17, Stamina 14. Aiken curse beat. He smirked slyly, convinced 3 months of secret training paid off. Once all stats hit 20, he'd rank up and prioritize soul class. Then summoning an assassination. Suddenly Vaiyun froze at an unexpected guest presence. Steward Juno Hildu of Sekmin apologized for interrupting the session. Juno bowed and handed an item, making Ru Yun realize the message arrived as in the last loop. Hanzo solemnly affirmed the moment had come as Ru Yun opened it. It was an invitation to the second Prince Darren's 1892 birthday. That date had been fixed. The final piece of the entire plan would surface. In the meadow, he yawned wondering why he overslept. Juno said had slept since departure and Ling tended him till late. With Han-Er and Sina absent, no one accompanied him. As they left, giant beasts appeared. Terrible timing. The Satchmin clan had to fight monsters at the dark border. So when Han-Er was deployed, Sine was summoned home by her mother for clan duty. Thus a 12-year-old traveled as clan representative, though Juno reassured him. In Darren, if you dared touch Sekmin's true-blood hair, Ru Yun still worried so long as the clan stood for Darren's sake. Before any envoy could attend now the failing clan forced the chief himself. Ru Yun sat cross-legged, saying to proceed, and Juno announced arrival. The capital Dakbon shone brilliantly in the sun. Birds circled the vast sky. Attendants already waited before the palace. Ru Yun stepped out with stern, commanding poise. Kai welcomed him joyfully, calling his full title. The second prince received him with top ceremony. Juno bowed thanking on Sekmin's behalf for the honor. Ru Yun was mildly surprised by such special treatment. He observed from gate to inner halls. Citizens watched with uneasy eyes. They exchanged pitying looks at a fading lineage. Rumors spread that he was a spoiled child and Sekmin was collapsing. Ru Yun knew nobles mocked them as well. Everything unfolded exactly as he planned. The sky stayed blue with drifting clouds. He sighed, wondering who was calling him. Juno could only watch his attitude helplessly. The crowd continued gossiping. He gritted his teeth, whispering they should act to his script. From deep in the palace, a sudden call rang out. Hassan repeated they'd arrived a week early to escort him, and Gangwon said the boy entered the city 5 days prior. Haisung said he came early to meet envoys, though uncertain. Entering the city masked, he hadn't greeted nobles. He vanished into his room, silent for 5 days despite festivities. He was even pleased there'd be beauties at the banquet. Gangwon composedly said had sent men to persuade him. Then Boat rushed in with news. He reported Ru Yun's appearance and message had attend today's banquet and needed preparations. Bout stayed, recounting every detail. Hye-san and Gangan finally relaxed. He also ordered secrecy from Food Chop and even from Juno. Hye-san and Gangan worried about reporting but decided Ru-yun's appearance would suffice. After discussion, the three rushed to prepare while Ru-yun reflected on the past days. He had used the time to train quietly in his room. He reminded himself the banquet wasn't just for escort duty. His steady eyes revealed his greater objective. The carriage rolled straight into the palace. Sanzi sat inside, facing the royal city. Ji-yun had foreseen this and thought he would arrive today. Evening descended beautifully like a painting. A herald announced the arrival of Sit-Peto. The palace doors slowly opened wide. Sanzi entered in brilliant ceremonial dress. His eyes scanned as if spotting something unusual. Juno was present and tried to avoid him, but Sanzi noticed and asked, while Juno said the prince would be surprised at his arrival. He said he heard Sek-min had come early. Sanzi curled his lips asking where the famed Ru-yun Sek-min was. Juno grew visibly irritated. He forced calm and asked what he meant. Sanzi loudly claimed everyone knew the Sek-min clan was near extinction. Juno recalled he was Peyton's youngest the Circle Mage, yet he dared insult Sek-min on Darren Soya. Sanzi added he was hunting the rumor starter for punishment. Juno remembered his scandalous past, an alcoholic since youth, once killing Peyton's citizens. The hall stirred at the herald calling Ru-yun's title. Juno jolted the boy had stayed hidden for days. Ru-yun appeared radiantly unlike usual. Groomed hair, refined attire, calm face with a bright smile. Guests whispered at his poise. Contrary to all rumors, the whispers made Sanzi burn with jealousy. He fumed as Ru-yun stole attention again. Sanzi closed in, ready to provoke. Ru-yun called him Sit-Peyton and said had heard much about him from Jas. Juno only dared stand guard while Sanzi barked irritably. He asked if Ru-yun was the vanished fourth son of Sek-mun. Sanzi paused, then said he knew quite a bit about Ru-yun. Ru-yun cut in, praising his famed gentleness. He mentioned they studied at the academy together and everyone knew Sanzi's name. Though he studied only months, his notoriety remained. The jab made Sanzi snap and curse. Ru-yun continued, recalling he'd saved a bullied friend and helped a girl being harassed. He pretended to recall what else, then mentioned the knee incident amid Sanzi's rising fury. Juno hurried in, explaining it was when Rasdown scraped his knee and Sanzi gave medicine, then added the night captain's regards. The atmosphere tightened like a bomb about to blow. He pulled Ru-yun away, inviting the young master elsewhere. Ru-yun still stared at Sanzi with repressed hatred. Sanzi couldn't hide his rage. Cursing inside, he was furious at being threatened before everyone. Ru-yun smiled in satisfaction, thinking he should rage more, for his anger was a piece of Ru-yun's plan. Night fell, casting suffocating tension over the palace. Suddenly shouts and heavy bangs echoed from the hall. Sanzi, face flushed, muttered curses at Sek-min. Ru-yun's words still haunted him, making him fear Raz had revealed everything. He worried his expulsion would surface despite his influence hiding it. Ru-yun's mention of the knee medicine revived his old humiliation. Sanzi stood brooding, then formed a sinister smile. Raz, past scolding him for crossing the line, resurfaced. Sanzi had argued he only cared for that commoner girl, but Raz rebuked him for harming a female student with magic and forced him to kneel or be punished. Raz threatens to abandon the Patton clan and actually kill him. Sans trembles and sheds tears remembering it. He once had to kneel before Raz. That humiliation only fueled his hatred. He resolves to push the plan and silence Ryan at all costs. Sans mutters that the enemy is about to suffer misfortune. A knock sounds. He coldly allows entry. The door opens slowly. A man steps in lightly. Sans says he didn't expect this figure tonight. It's the steward Juno held of Sek-min entering his room. The bright moon ushers in unforeseeable events. Carriages keep rolling steadily through the night. Giant concludes the banquet cleared his bad name and shaped him as a smart but non-combat prodigy. Sit-Patton has been fully drawn into the trap. Juno praises him, saying Sek-min still has hope. Ryan is surprised since he even caused a rift with Patton. Juno answers vaguely. He says the clash with Sit-Patton was satisfying. Ji-yoon grows more suspicious. He suddenly raises his hand to use a skill. Juno panics and calls to the young master. He anxiously asks why he did that. Ji-yoon instantly seals the sound in the carriage and speaks coldly. If he truly believes hope remains, why betray Sek-min? Juno panics because the boy knows everything. He tries to act innocent, but Ryan says the crime is unforgivable. The atmosphere strips bare, unbearably tense. But the boy says hell overlook it since it came from Sek-min's burden. Juno is stunned to realize he's only a pawn in a grand game. He freezes, stammering. Ryan softly asks if he knows how obvious he was and gives him a chance to decide after hearing all. Juno, despairing, still listens closely. The air calms, the carriage keeps moving. Ji-yoon continues explaining the entire plan network. He states everything is proceeding smoothly. Juno is shocked by such calculation. He asks how a child could shape such a situation. Ji-yoon looks at him with icy, hateful eyes. Juno covers his face, choking out sounds. He is moved by the boy's words. Juno says he wants to sing from joy. Ryan smiles, saying he predicted his choice. He says Steward Juno has already passed the imperial capital. Juno shudders as if the boy foresaw the future. He rethinks and realizes it wasn't a joyful smile, but a cruel gaze. cold as a blade. Suddenly the carriage is dragged and jolts to a stop. A guard asks why they halted and orders them to move. He checks and finds the horses cannot move. A grotesque figure appears, making him gasp. The soldiers freeze in fear. The guards immediately report an ambush. They order defense of the convoy because the arrows carry sorcery. The captain shouts to deploy magical shields. He yells asking if the attacker dares not kneel before Sekmine. A soldier glances around and spots something wrong. A guard warns no one may approach the carriage without a code or be executed. Panic shouts rise as things worsen. The young master is gone. The carriage is empty. The captain panics, uttering a shock cry. The cold forest night engulfs them. Juno gallops straight ahead. He stops, panting hard. Behind him, Ryan is bound and dragged, blood streaking the ground. The boy floats in the air, his system reporting suppression states activating. He closes his eyes, lips tight, recalling the strain of using this skill too long. He imagines the guards panicking while searching for him. Juno spurs his horse, remembering how his clan once frantically sought their last heir. He slightly raises a brow, thinking they collapsed anyway, and now Hell used this incident to hasten his plan. Juno is horrified hearing about faking death and staging decline. Ryan rubs his chin, saying Sekmin's situation is dire, showing revival would only tighten control. Other clans would fear them and move to restrain them, making Sekmin unable to endure. He imagines himself under countless watchful eyes, so he let rumors spread that his harmless. The image of Sans arrogantly stepping on him resurfaces, but even if other clans waver, Patton always wants to erase Sekmin's last spark. His eyes glow red as he vows to use that very intent. Horrific images flood Juno's mind as Ryan says Sans has taken the bait and will strike now. He adds that if others join in, even better, making Juno pale. Ryan curls his lips in a cold smile. He extends his hand at Juno, forcing him to choose Sekmin's survival. Back in reality, he's bound on a horse while his system reports rising spell resistance. Cold eyes open, confirming everything follows the plan. An apology suddenly breaks the silence. Juno, riding, trembles and begs forgiveness. Ryan coldly tells him to follow the plan. It's his only path to atone, and Juno can only sob. Powerful force surrounds Ryan. All stats hitting 20 as awakening begins. He feels magic surging, smiles as the first promotion condition is complete. In the quiet moonlit night, a body is carried into the stillness. Juno carries Ryan out, while Sans waits and praises his effort. He arrogantly leads his men, calling this a special deal with Sekmin's steward. He looks at Juno like an owner inspecting his dog. Juno grits his teeth, saying he exaggerates, addressing him as Lord Patton. Sans sneers that traitors should stay silent and accept their fate. He unrolls a scroll certified by the famed Axon clan. He hands it to Juno, noting Axon never sells fake intel. The scroll emits faint magic, typical of information brokers. Sans points to a report on Sekmin's lost hairs. Ryan is placed under a tree. Hearing everything, he realizes Juno sold him to seek stronger hairs for the clan. Knowing Axon holds secrets, Juno paid dearly for exclusive intel. Sans ends by saying the deal is done and dismisses him like trash. Juno only asks him to honor the agreement. Sans casually says of course. He smirks, saying he'll return the treasure to Sekmine. Juno quietly rides away. Sans looks down at Ryan, saying no need to kill him since he's just a breathing corpse. He boasts that Sekmin surely knows the true culprit now. Just as he wanted, a subordinate asks if he'll do it himself. Sans grabs Ryan's hair and says of course. The night thickens, wind howling sharply. A flash of light cuts through the darkness. Ryan opens his eyes slightly, seeing Sans' silhouette. Seeing him awake, Sans leans close and mocks him, but Ryan coldly looks away, annoying him. Sans laughs derisively at the chained Ryan. Ryan bluntly asks what is doing. Sans toys with his weapon and boasts has caught Sekmin's most precious prey. Ryan coldly asks if he understands the consequences, irritating him. Sans smirks, recalling being threatened by Ryan at the banquet. Ryan answers only with a knowing smile. He pats Ryan's head, mocking what Rast once told him. Then blood spurts as he strikes without warning. Suddenly Ryan's head is stomped as is warned not to think of revenge. He keeps pounding Ryan's face repeatedly. Ryan's eyes flash while the man curses and questions why he showed up. He mocks that Ryan should been protected but was sold for intel. He screams that no one can save Ryan. Sans clenches his fist, warning this act will spark war between the houses. Ryan calmly replies, scorning someone already dead. A surge of mysterious energy erupts within him. Sunskin gapes in terror at the sight. Ryan returns to a cold state as magic rises and triggers the array. Rings of spells appear around him. The glare is so harsh Suns must shield his eyes. He becomes trapped inside Ryan's circle. Ryan feels secretly pleased to return to his true form. Suns is increasingly shocked. Sweating heavily, he staggers, losing balance. A voice singing drifts through the ruined quarter. The array keeps releasing strange energy. Sans goes berserk because nothing matches his expectations. Ryan stays cold while Suns bumps his forehead to mock his stalling. Ryan smiles mockingly, repeating his warning. Suns freezes instantly. Ryan glares fiercely, shouting he talks too much. A spell ring tightens around Suns' neck, choking him. Veins bulge as blood spurts out. Sans panics, clutching his throat, losing his voice. Ryan turns eerie, declaring all his incantations are sealed. Realizing it, Suns is even more horrified. Still, Sans raises his hand to cast. He thinks he can counter with a chantless spell. Ryan scoffs that chantless spells reach only tier 3, and his lost offenses is a patent trap, yet he still fires at Ryan. Ryan calmly says his tier 2 spell is too weak, his fatal mistake. The attack slams into Ryan's leg hard. Sun sighs in relief, thinking it just injured a leg, but then he is horrified. Ryan's leg is instantly healed. Ryan's glowing eyes nullify the spell's effect. Sans panics and casts another spell. Ryan recognizes a tier 3 spell, saying he missed his last chance and smiles that he'll never get hit. Against the fire art, Ryan forms an ice ring to counter. Flames are crushed by a surge of water, shocking Suns at his own mismatched mana. Sensing the anomaly, he falls silent. 3 layers of barriers burst from Ryan's eyes, absorbing and reflecting the spell. Sun's hand burns as Ryan coldly says overlimit spell self-destroy. Sun stiffens like stunned. He forces himself up and tries to strike again. His eyes flicker oddly. Before him, the iron shackles have been softened by Ryan. Seeing the final crack, Ryan says breaking iron chains is nothing, and the array has more than 2 types. As Sun shakily reassures himself, another array appears on his left and unleashes waves of lightning, whipping his body with screams. Ryan only smiles with satisfaction. Seeing Sun's exhausted on the ground, he raises his hand for another strike. Sun's feints. Ryan pockets his hands and walks past with a taunt. In terror, Suns hears Ryan say the roles will reverse this time. The room fills with dense magical smoke. Suns opens his eyes in confusion. He sees Ryan beside him, twirling a knife, asking if he's awake and teasing him about his dagger. Sans realizes his tied and jerks violently. He writhes, trying to yank his hands free. Failing, he lets out a faint groan. Seeing he can still speak, has relieved, thinking it's only iron chains, not magic shackles. He shouts a release spell, but a glowing hole on his neck flares and cuts his voice. He cries uselessly. Ryan casually calls him foolish. Sans grits his teeth in pain, not understanding why he's silenced without seeing any array. Ryan steps in, saying he prepared beforehand when binding a mage. He lifts the blade, saying he carved spell arrays all over his body. Ryan slices several lines, making him panic and ask what it is. Blood gushes, terrifying Suns further. A strange seal appears on his belly. Ryan says it's a forbidden art, carving spells directly into skin as scars. Ryan recalls being tortured like this in a past life while kept conscious. Sans then licked the blood and carved the dagger into the 12-year-old him. Now Suns panics, asking how he knows this spell type. He adds Ryan couldn't use mana, making Ryan sigh, thinking of past life memories and a tongue experience. 3 months ago, after learning mana pill refining, he prioritized stealth skills. Other skills came easily thanks to Makelu, the secret he uncovered in a tongue. Each skill has its own vein flow, and mana runs exactly along that person's pattern. Only a master like him can see and recall all these skill veins. Thus he needs no training, only mana in the right conditions. He recalls using stealth to leave Sireman House and memorizing the terrain. Then he set traps so Suns would fall on himself. These 3 arrays magnify the very pain he once meant to inflict on him. As cruel memories crumble, Ryan tells him to handle his own body. He lifts the bloodied knife, staring unblinking. Outside, late sunlight slants in. Sans pitifully begs him to stop from the pain. Ryan stays cheerful but declares today's session is over. Sans bursts into tears, thinking is spared, but as Ryan leaves, Suns cries out in protest. Bitterly he warns that his people are coming and urges Ryan to run. Ryan guesses the timing, shocking him with a question. Ryan recalls they purposely arrived late to let him torture him for a week. In the cell, Suns shouts that he never passed out and they truly are coming. Ryan mocks that with his nature, knowing patent troops were coming, had never warned him. He panics as the scheme is exposed. Fearsome guards appear. Ryan points out their patents meant. Sans panics, asking what he plans to do. Ryan swings and slaps him hard. The seals on Sans' body react instantly. He screams in utter despair. Ryan leaves calmly, saying he won't touch him again today. Sans sobs hoarsely in misery, standing nearby. Ryan tilts his head and gives a cold smile through the array. He remembers Patton's elite guards will arrive in a week. 1 week later at the site, the escort squad arrives. The leader confirms the location. They report no word from Sans for a week after capturing the Saruman child, so they inform superiors. The leader is shocked no one reached the site for a whole week. They check and confirm every entrance has been guarded. Moments later, the leader shivers, cursing that Sans kept torturing and forgot to report. He forms a weapon, reminding them the clan head ordered the Saruman child brought back alive. He grips the weapon, ready to storm, and despite subordinates trying to stop him, he recalls the clan head's order outweighs patent bloodlines. He blasts the door open. Before entering, he orders subordinates to stay. One replies awkwardly. A single commanding glare freezes the whole team in place. Then he steps in calmly. Each step is slow and steady. He scans the area, uneasy but sensing no mana. Suddenly, countless of Ryan's arrays appear. They launch a rapid assault toward him. He raises a temporary shield and gasps in surprise. Powering his weapon, he deduces Sun's trigger traps, and the alert sigils glow. With boosted power, he sees all magic traps activating. He destroys one trap, concluding the enemy knows this place perfectly. He passes numerous traps unharmed, wondering if Saruman or a third party set them. He raises twin shields, deciding the enemy gets no chance. He analyzes every detail intently. A cold gleam flashes as he vows the one challenging Patton's finger will pay. No one is inside the dark building. In the cell, blood pools and Sans lies near death. Patton's finger breaks the lock with immense mana. Seeing the scene, he shouts, "Young master!" He breaks the shackles, freeing Sans immediately. supporting him. He asks what happened. Sans only mutters weakly. Sans' eyes droop from exhaustion. Checking with his staff, he confirms it's Sun's mana. His suspicious since Sans is bound and Ryan stages the victim. Sans trembles asking for healing, but a subordinate says they must retreat first. Remembering the traps, he says the unseen enemy is dangerous. He stares at Ryan, finding it strange they kept both here instead of moving them. He thinks the child is suspicious, but duty must be done. As he hesitates, Sans collapses and accuses the culprit. Sans cries that Ryan tortured him. Patton's finger glances over. Silent, he raises his staff, channeling Tier 7 binding to erase will and disrupt mind. Before he counterattacks, Ryan appears behind him with crushing force. Patton's finger instantly lashes a rapid-fire spell. The strike hits an illusion wall. Make him suspect a lure. He caused blood as the Tier 7 chant breaks, causing backlash. Ryan darts aside, mocking his reverse mana flow. He launches countless illusions, scolding him for not finishing the target earlier. Furious, Patton's finger energizes his staff to retaliate. Ryan answers with mana, confronting the illusionist. Standing in an array, he commands all illusions erased. Lightning bursts from fast-cast circles, sweeping the area, but Ryan dodges them cleanly. He observes with expert skill. Ryan suddenly laughs, freezing his expression. Ryan lunges like lightning. Facing the rush, he roars in anger. He kicks Ryan's chin, sending blood flying. Watching Ryan thrown back, he sneers at the weak strike. He charges a larger fireball, saying burning Ryan's face is fine. Convinced Ryan is out of tricks, he smirks while Ryan grins on the floor. He stiffens at Ryan's mocking comment. A dagger lies right at his feet. Realizing danger, his eyes widen. Before he can turn, a slash cuts his throat, blood erupting. Ryan inside Sans' body strikes ruthlessly. Patton's finger is stunned as Ryan, in Sans' shell, grins arrogantly. He reveals the soul swap trick. Sans' soul is trapped in his body, so the enemy dared not kill him. Ryan examines the blood-etched arrays on Sans' body, confirming his calculations. His body lies still as a vessel for soul transfer and amplified pain. He snaps the opponent's staff, flaunting his main trump card. The room erupts in a violent explosion. An iron mask flies out through the smoke and fire. Ryan walks toward the charred corpse. His body glows with a bright, authoritative blue. He smirks triumphantly, declaring the target captured. He sits and searches the corpse. He retrieves a vial of blue liquid. He pours it over himself as the system triggers and levels his pain resistance skill. Ryan winces, reminding himself the wounds must look real to fool others. He laughs in delight. He proudly proclaims he has slain a Patton finger. A system window suddenly pops up. The system announces mission complete and level up. His stun he didn't expect a mission. It displays rehearsal mean at level 15. Ryan is pleased to jump from level 2 to 15. He wonders why but chooses to finish important tasks first. A red spell circle forms on the floor. He drags the corpse along, placing it on a table. He seals it with arrays for the next phase. Skill veins lie deep in the soul, not the body. Even inside Sans, he still uses Ryan's own mana. He only needs to charge the prepared veins. The system deducts 5 levels and activates a bonus condition. A new panel appears before Ryan. Shadow Phantom is an assassin hidden class requiring 20 clarity and 15 mana before level 5. He meets the requirements but still frowns at the panel. He thinks with more levels he could attempt 2 more tries. Blue light fills the room. Ryan closes his eyes and casts with full power. The system reports a successful class change and unlocks a class above Death Hand. It is a high class of Soul Enchanter. Needing 20 mana and assassin lineage, he succeeded through one of 2 lucky chances. Killing the Patton finger boosted his levels, enough to attempt a 3rd class change. If successful, Hell unlocked the Ghost Soul class for awakened assassin soul enchanters. In a tongue, this class made him unrivaled. Unlocking both Shadow Phantom and Death Hand would surpass all limits. But Ghost Soul depends on soul magnitude. Ryan weighs the risk, knowing failure is severe, but success would hyperaccelerate his ascension plan. He can't hesitate any longer. Smiling confidently, he hears another 5 levels deducted. Ryan's eyes snap open in brutal pain. The system warns of soul damage requiring rest. Purple energy engulfs him as he screams in agony. Blood pours from his eyes and mouth as he fears the 3rd class exceeds his limits. Suddenly he sees a strange image that startles him. Ryan's past appears before his eyes. He sees himself surrounded by masked bird-face figures. One grips Real's hair with a cruel smile. The man smiles faintly in satisfaction, and Ro bravely shields him from arrows. Senna appears battered from countless wounds. She shines with a gentle smile, encouraging Ryan. Nguyen grits his teeth, enduring torture. Ryan screams that even at the cost of his soul, he will reach the Supreme Ghost class. Power surges violently from his body. The radiance expands, filling the whole room. The system interface bursts open. His soul meets the requirement and the hidden class unlocks. He watches the system lines, heart pounding with hope. A notification confirms advancement to Phantom Ghost. The panel displays the Phantom class detailed abilities. Ryan is stunned as Huang Ban whispers the true illusion exceeds expectations. Even in this class never appeared, because it is a higher ghost type, so it surely holds many parallel traits. He tells himself the objective is fully achieved. Now it's time to start the first step of the plan. The ghost passive greatly boosts a soul summoner's summon power. Killing a tier 7 archmage was preparation for this step. This is precious material that must not be wasted. If successful, the entire plan will be shortened significantly. The system triggers the calendar craft skill. He reasons tier 7 essence makes a tier 70 requirement feasible. Strange lightning flares in the corpse's empty sockets. The system errors and shifts to creating a special undead. Ryan widens his his eyes in shock. A mysterious dark mist floods the room. It condenses densely before him and begins to form. A human shape emerges, radiating unusual pressure. The system confirms the special undead creation is complete. The entity smiles cryptically. The panel asks the master to assign a title. The tower suddenly erupts with purple beams through every window. A thunderous explosion follows with violent tremors. The subordinates outside panic instantly. They fearfully question the terrifying noise. They freeze at the ruins, desperately searching for sons. From the ashes, calm footsteps emerge. Ryan, in San's Negan form, appears and stuns them. He returns their gaze with icy indifference. Ryan orders them to act, leaving them confused. He scolds that someone in Patton has betrayed them, yet they fail to see it. He says he has confined him with an artifact, but can't hold him long. Ryzon Sekman must be moved. He assigns them to stall Durak so he can return to the clan. He says reinforcements will come soon and they'll be rewarded if they delay him. Finishing, Ryan rides off instantly. His silhouette merges into the night and vanishes. It is the last moment they ever see their master. The subordinates bow and report to Pyrrhus. Paris is Peyton's tier 7 mage. He coldly says no trace of Durak was found. Paris crushes the report in anger. He roars, questioning the accuracy of the intel. He asks if only their group knows about that night. A soldier answers trembling, then is cut down by a comrade. The executioner calmly swings again despite the screams. Barris notes Spartan's disappearance is also serious. He warns exposing Patton finger involvement will cause major trouble. Sudden commotion erupts outside. Guards shout warnings, forbidding further approach. A lone figure stumps once with immense force. The pressure from the step forces the guards back. The man walks forward, his aura making soldiers wary. Enhandro stands under the blue moon and issues a challenge. He declares he will annihilate them all. Barris mentions political consequences, but Enhandro retorts and demands to see Ryujun. Barris asks again, and Enhandro asserts the rumors spread after a week of disappearance. He points out secret site traces in Patton's camp are suspicious. Barris says they truly don't know the Sekmin chief's whereabouts. And Spartan is missing too. He asked for cooperation, but Enhandro roared at him to shut up. That remark also ignited Pyrrhus' anger. Enhandro declared he would allow no one to tamper with the investigation scene. He glared at Pyrrhus, his aura surging. Pyrrhus instantly adopted a battle stance, killing intent rising. Juno watched from afar, worried things might spiral out of control. Senna turned back and cast a warning spell at Juno, calling him a traitor. He panicked so much he was speechless. She said without the earlier order, he would already be dead. Then she demanded he speak only about finding the Lord. Juno replied that Ryan had said he would leave a sign. Senna wondered if there was any trace here, and he said if it were easy, Patton would found it. Only Sekman's Earthseeker art could track the remaining resonance. She chanted and formed a green light sphere. Through that casting tool, Senna observed and located the target, saying she had found it. She then pulled it close to herself. Juno froze, unable to believe what he saw. A suspended body floated before them. It was Raihan, freed from Suns, tied to a branch in a wretched state. They realized Ryan was not here at all. Only Suns remained in that terrifying condition. A cloth around his neck claimed he was the culprit and begged punishment. As the body appeared, a letter was placed beneath his feet. Senna immediately noticed the letter. When Juno asked about Ryan's traces, she signaled silence and said a letter was left. Senna read every line carefully. The writer said he once meant to seize Sun's body to sabotage Patton, but feared an 8-year mage would detect the soul swap. If he returned Sekmin in Raihan's form, a war between the clans would erupt, and Sekmin could not endure, so he chose the final option before disappearing. He wrote the letter hoping to convince Senna. Juno curiously asked what it said. Senna burned the letter and said they must return to Sekmin at once. The falling ash signaled incoming troubles. Dawn light spread over the vast land. Birds soared across the clear sky. Their shadows fell on the red rooftops. A small figure walked into the street. Someone called after him, saying the team leader was looking for him. With Juno and Senna, he was still confused. While she said she was certain, the boy named Li Weng turned back with a polite smile. His dark green eyes hid a mystery. He smiled with a familiar hint of Ri. 3 months passed in Fenton, capital of Ben Stroy. People gossiped that Patton and Sekmin nearly went to war until 2 great kingdoms intervened. Rumor said Patton abducted the last Sekmin-blooded person. In the end, Sekmin accepted compensation, and the culprit remained unfound. People wondered why they agreed to reparations when the child was missing and the golden dragon had vanished. Their former prestige had collapsed to ash. Rumors spread ever louder. At the Fenton branch of Gillam Sap Martin, someone said the disappearance of the last bloodline made compensation necessary. A girl crossed her legs, sighing heavily. Safia Amsat, rank 2 and head of the branch, complained in frustration. The old story repeated, plus news that Sekmin's steward Churro was executed, had been caught colluding with Patton, and Handro beheaded him without hesitation. Safia was shocked, asking if a true master swordsman had acted. Suddenly someone walked in from outside. Rai Yun entered calmly, and Sefer welcomed him. He replied gently and greeted Duns, making him curious why he sought the branch chief. The room fell silent under the slanting sunlight. Sefer remarked that he finally showed up. She handed him a letter and asked if he knew what it was. It was a recommendation for Rian to become an official official Martin member. Hearing that, he smiled faintly. He noted there was still one exam left, and Sefer confirmed it. She said his first deployment wasn't easy, but the exam was nothing to him. After only 2 months in Fenton, he had cleared all trials of a major assassin guild. Ryun's eyes turned cold at that mention. Sefer said they were witnessing a prodigy with a century-record promotion speed. He said he was far below the branch chief, and she teased him for pretending to be modest. She remarked his emotions were lighter than when they first met. Sipping tea, she continued, memories of that night flashed through Safia's mind. She recalled the evening 2 months ago when a quiet boy appeared at a notoriously secretive assassin guild, carrying an unexpectedly huge sum of money. Ryun's eyes brimmed with killing intent as he made his request. That was Safia's first meeting with him. Filled with oddities, Ryun explained he heard the guild accepted any job if paid. After verifying the money, they treated him as a real client. But Sefer said money didn't change their attitude. She sensed they would never find another client as strange as him. A ragged child carrying a mountain of money and hiring assassins to kill himself. Impossible not to be curious. Ryun ignored all those remarks. He took the letter, stood, and said he'd read it himself. Safia said she'd call him once the exam was ready, and Ryun turned and left the room. Their exchange formally ended. Khan asked if she accepted him merely by intuition. Safia told him not to joke, he had completed all training in 1 month. Normal people needed 5 to 10 years. She acknowledged his talent and asked if the investigation was complete. He reported that Li Weng had no surname, green hair and eyes, was picked up and raised by a mysterious teacher who vanished. He joined the guild to find his teacher and hired assassins to test his own abilities. Sefer doubted the truthfulness and asked if it was reliable. Khan affirmed the information was accurate. He said he had visited the place where the two once lived, a mountain house, deserted but with traces of life. Sefer cut in, raising the biggest suspicion. Could Lion actually be Ryusei Min? Khan also briefly considered the idea. Safia linked the missing Seki Min hair. Ryusei Sekmite, a strange boy of the same age, appeared at the same time. She felt it was too much to call coincidence. Khan countered that the coincidence probability was extremely low. He explained Ryan had been weak in mana and body since childhood and closely monitored. The clan fell because Ryan was too weak, he couldn't match a genius like Lion. He suggested further investigation, but she refused. She said not to waste elite manpower on trivial matters. She ordered them to investigate the mysterious teacher who raised Lion, for he must be extraordinary. In the next room, Ryan heard and silently praised her sharp senses. He found the soul master profession very convenient. As long as a soul existed, he could use them to gather information. He muttered to activate his state. A token appeared. Ryan Sekman, profession activated. Death's Hand, level 13. He was surprised his level had recovered after the class change. Channeling mana to dominate the body had also helped, not only altering appearance, but fully masking mana presence, even fooling a tier 2 assassin's senses. And that day, he had swapped souls to enter Sun's body. From that he gained an interesting soul needing a name. He smirked and chose the name Khan F. Khan A formed with black haze around it. He checked its stats: strength 7, speed 5, mana 23, skills bone and soul shield and undead with growth potential. He was excited because it carried phantom power, but the skill description did not show it. He raised his hand to inspect further. Khan's details slowly appeared. He widened his eyes at each line. The system showed the revenge plan quest with rewards still hidden. He said this quest wasn't supposed to exist on Rescue Continent. It was a hidden quest requiring self-found conditions. After defeating Durak, the quest completed and its skills fused to form Khan. He thought it was still weak and mana hungry, but would be useful later. Under the calm moonlight, Ryan cheerfully said he must look to the future. The wind was still. He sat on a high wall, reminding himself not to see only the present. Uncle Duns came asking what he was thinking. Ryan replied happily he dreamed of passing the exam, becoming a full member. Then a branch chief Duns said at his speed it was entirely possible. Duns paused, eyes drifting far away. He said there were 3 candidates today and only one would be chosen. This was the final test to reach Assassin Tier 5 and become an official member. Duns read the candidates' names, including Bala. Lip stood beside her with a hard look. He said whoever killed the target first would pass. Ryan looked ahead with resolve. The signal sounded. Starting the exam, Duns watched each move with severity. He explained the procedure and told them to hear the target's profile. The target was a rock, 47, a prosperous shop owner with 3 guards. 2 were bronze rank warriors, 1 a silver rank mage. Bala added he had just taken a concubine, and each night he visited her, keeping guards away. Duns praised her investigation but warned he might not go there tonight. Bala faltered at the question. He asked bluntly if she could handle the guards too, making her hesitate. So Martin provided the final piece of intel, the third person's turn. Duns called Li Weng, asking what he had. Ryan sighed, asking if he must speak. All 3 waited for his answer, but he refused, saying only 1 passes, so sharing was pointless. Bala snapped that they had just given intel. Lip complained they were teammates. Ryan coldly replied no training ever taught about teammates. Duns agreed with him. He stressed the test required using what they'd learned. He inwardly judged Ryan's reply perfectly assassin-like. He asked Bala and Lip if they objected. They said no. He declared from now on everyone was free to act. Duns watched Ryan with rising expectations. He even joked the target was indeed a challenge. Sefer said the mission involved sending 4 Tier 4 and 3 Tier 3 to hunt, with a 3-day limit and Fenton success earned rewards. Failure would force accepting Li Wang into special training at the branch. Duns exclaimed it was insane. The soldiers mocked, saying try hiding 10 minutes and we'll catch you. After some time they returned exhausted and admitted failure. They said the kid's traps and tricks were too vicious. Sefer smiled, declaring she would personally train him per the agreement. Ryan told himself becoming a full assassin wasn't easy, especially with a chief-selected target of highest difficulty. He felt he was standing at the opening of a new chapter. A gentle, peaceful night breeze passed. Bala burst out, shattering the glass. She thought he had erased all magical alerts and traps. She dodged the guards to slip inside but met hired mercenaries. The security tightened once they detected an intruder. They shouted to chase while Lip continued observing. She silently cursed Bala's stupidity but used his chaos for her own plan. Had he not caused noise, she would have had to create an opening herself. The target had survived many assassinations. Always hiding in his first wife's room, that area was heavily guarded inside and out. Complaints erupted from someone losing patience. The first wife yelled that after taking a mistress. He even brought an assassin home. Arach panicked, saying it wasn't his fault and the room was very safe. From above, Lip noted the guards were more numerous than before. Bala had drawn off the regular guards, leaving 5 common soldiers around the room. She prepared to strike since she could break in directly. Arach screamed for his wife to drop the dangerous object. Lip leaned farther to watch the scene below. Cammy, holding a knife, sobbed and recalled his old confession to her, but she couldn't stand him spending her family's money on his young mistress. She scolded him for using his wife's money to buy gifts for another. Finishing, Cammy stabbed before Arach could react. Lip froze at the scene. Arach was killed instantly. The knife dripped crimson. Cammy trembled, crying she couldn't believe what she'd done. Arach collapsed with a fatal wound. Cammy stood stunned as people knocked. Asking what happened, Lip wondered if the mission counted as pass or fail when the target died by himself. She was also puzzled why Li Wang hadn't appeared. The atmosphere quickly settled. Lip returned to the meeting point and bowed, reporting mission failure. She stammered that the target was killed by his first wife, not by them. Ryan looked calmly at Duns. Lip glanced at the monitor, confused. She was shocked Ryan had returned first, though they started together. Bala also came back injured. Duns asked if Bala was safe. She said the guards had fought each other, letting her escape. While being chased, the guards battled among themselves, so she fled. Duns announced the exam was over and the target wasn't counted as a fail. He declared the shocking news that Li Wang was the one who completed the mission. Everyone exclaimed in surprise. Someone asked how it counted as success when Arach died by his wife's hand. Thanks to Li Wang's involvement, everyone was confused. He gave a cryptic look, pointing at Ryan, saying Li Wang had acted. Ryan was accused of using a spell to make the first wife kill Arach. Bala and Lip were stunned, eyes wide and speechless. Duns affirmed Li Wang had manipulated Arach's wife to murder him. They demanded he explain how he did it. Ryan felt annoyed, wondering why he had to explain the obvious. Ryan let out a cold laugh and said he would clarify. Lip and Bala Kangthing silently watched Ryan. He stated the key lay in the couple's emotional bond. Sunset covered the fortress in fading red. Bala asked Mylan if he had exploited internal discord. Yul said his intel was the same as Fenton's since Orok was notorious. They all knew Orok sold lick, kept concubines, and that intel on guards and rooms was accurate. But he had investigated beforehand, so he only followed his preset plan. Lip and Bala were stunned. Then Bala exploded. They accused him of lying about the target, but he said he never claimed to study only Orok. He had collected files on all people in the city worth eliminating. By building ties with merchant informants, finishing training early, he used the extra time to prep for any target. They despaired, thinking he had learned far beyond requirements. Ryan added he found the one who hated Arach the most. It was the first wife, Kenli, whom he secretly approached. He subtly planted the idea of hiring assassins for her. Arach kept marrying concubines and used her family's money for business. Kenli hated him but didn't want him truly dead. He advised her to add guards and tighten security. That way Arach would hide in her room by instinct, and she could blame the concubine and her lover. So he would wake up and return to her. The alcohol-addicted woman believed immediately. Had it stopped there, everything would have matched her wish. But right before action, he added fuel. That gifts for the concubine all came from her own deceived investment money. Duns was stunned, thinking the whole team had been led by the nose, but the test had been under his control from the start. Lip and Bala were speechless. Duns still didn't get how an ordinary woman could kill her husband. Ryan smirked, saying he had helped. He laced the wine sent to Arach's house with alchemical drug as insurance. Even the mercenaries were dosed. Thankfully, the effect hit right on time. Lip asked what it was. He said it caused confusion and agitation. Bala panicked, guessing the guard brawl was from it. Ryan admitted that though he never learned teamwork, he didn't want guild members dying. Bala blushed, moved. Lip also felt choked up. Duns concluded everything matched the plan and Kenli struck in the chaos. Lip said assassination shouldn't require stabbing. Duns cheerfully congratulated Ryan on passing. Ryan added he could even extort extra fees from Kelly. Duns was stunned. He explained Kelly became a murderer, but the break-in was real, and only they knew the truth. In that position, Kelly would surely pay more to hide her crime and blame assassins. Duns was speechless, shivering at his calculation. Lip grew wary. This was top-tier assassin strategy. She'd rather take second place than face Li Wang. Duns told the other two to go to the guild, leaving Li Wang for a private talk. Lip and Bala left, leaving the two alone. Duns hesitantly addressed him. He asked if he understood Kelly would live forever with the guilt of killing her husband. The guild trained assassins, not demons. Ryan gave a cold smile before knowing why Arach kept remarrying. He had treated Kelly as ordinary. All Arach's concubines had been eliminated by Kelly. Arach was tied to debts and gambling, ruining many lives. Kelly had used influence to remove concubines without lifting a hand. Arach knew yet still married more, though all would be erased. The disappearances were staged by Kelly's family, leaving no clues. These were things he uncovered during investigation. Even if a test, it was still a contract payment only when Arach died. What the target or client were like was not for an assassin to judge. He concluded that if one brought conscience into the job, it wouldn't be assassination anymore. Dan stared at Ryan in shock. Kelly had never said she didn't want to act. She had used the contract from the start, because the target had to be handled by the guild, and despite her pain, assassins shared the blame. Dan's asked again about conscience, and he replied, a person keeps humanity only if strong enough to change fate. Even if Dan's wanted to be kind, as long as he stayed in the guild, he couldn't. Ryan turned away and left, leaving Dan's frozen. Next morning before the guild barracks, uniforms neat, lines perfectly straight. Safi announced Leon passed and was now a Tier 5 assassin. The system confirmed mission completion. Rijun's body glowed in blue light. Notifications of level up and side quest completion appeared. Everyone applauded him. The system showed mission rewards. Safi explained Tier 5 could take official jobs and apply for rank up when ready, no rush. Raihan had completed a single mission exceeding 30 gold. Safi was surprised. He asked again about rank up conditions. Safi confirmed he wanted to know how much Arach's job was worth. The group was irritated by the blunt question. Ryan pressed again how much. The pressure made Sophia awkward. She answered 10 gold advance. 10 gold on completion. Bala and Ryun were stunned. She added the extra gold was hush money for Arach's death. Dan sweated, thinking it could be real. Ryan covered his mouth with a sly smile. Even if it was just a test, everyone listened with mixed expressions, but he finished the task and earned bonus pay. The 30 gold requirement was fulfilled. Safi glared furiously. Ryan declared he wanted promotion to Tier 4. The whole group fell silent. Seyfair exploded, saying he was too arrogant. Ryan smirked. Unfazed, she admitted his talent but said he belittled everyone. Every guild had rules and standards. Tier 4 were true assassins, recognized by experience in trials. Seyfair pointed, accusing him of disrespecting them all. His conditions weren't perfect, and that attitude would earn guild-wide opposition. She pretended not to hear, assuming he was tired from the first mission. Ryan cut her off. He declared he wouldn't withdraw his request. Safia warned he should watch himself if he wanted a peaceful life. Dan's asked to speak as exam supervisor. Safia paused, then allowed it. He said Leon was qualified for the Tier 4 exam, not because he disrespected others, but because he showed the exam's core. She asked what that was. He said pure physical strength assassination skills based on body, not schemes. Lip and Paling thought he won by brains, not strength. Dan's explained the Tier 4 exam was impossible without physical ability. This would test Leon, or break him. People began agreeing, recalling how he tricked them during entry tests. Safia let out a cold laugh and agreed. She allowed an exam so dangerous even veterans might die. Safia warned it was deadly. Was he ready? The two clenched hands firmly. Ryo answered confidently, yes. Night fell, with faint lights inside the house. Dan slammed his beer, saying the kid made his heart jump. He looked at Ryan, calling him reckless. Bala said he must have a target, and Clip added he surely had a plan. The Tier 4 exam was at least 12 months away as Rudiza brought drinks. Dan's asked if he wanted early training. Ryan refused, wanting rest. Lip and Bala protested loudly. Ryan said he planned to leave the guild temporarily. As an official member, he could leave branch territory. Dan's confirmed, and Ryan said it returned before the exam and could stop by Martin for updates. Dan's was surprised and asked if this was his plan. He wiped his mouth and smiled mysteriously. Under a peaceful, starry night, Dan's raised his mug urging everyone to drink. Laughter came from inside, someone reminding not to force Leon to drink. Raihan thought such peaceful moments were rare. Upon reaching Tier 4, had faced non-stop missions. Losing freedom aiming to be branch chief meant no rest, so he had to leave now. That night Ryan departed, standing on a cliff above the fields, ready for a new journey. He felt he had stepped into a land of darkness. That deadly place thrilled him, his eyes burning with resolve. Elsewhere, a cavalry unit approached. They seemed to escort an important person. Leading was a re-haired rider, Colonel, on a white horse. Suddenly he halted, sensing something odd. From afar he saw someone sitting in the road. Ryan, he shouted. Asking what he was doing, Ryan moved slowly. His left leg splinted like an injured child. He removed his hood. Colonel froze at his face. He had turned into a pitiful child, crying and begging for a ride to avoid freezing. The young man scratched his head helplessly. He scolded him for blocking nobles and said he should have been executed. Ryan smiled innocently. He continued acting, noting they weren't in a hurry since they chose a small road. The man cut him off impatiently. Ryan teared up again, begging like someone desperate. The man gave in, even his horse seeming exasperated. Light from the carriage behind suddenly turned on. A noblewoman inside ordered them to let the child ride. Colonel immediately objected. She changed her mind, saying he could ride with Colonel instead, so Regin was lifted into Colonel's arms, leaving him stunned. The squad teased him, making his face turn red. He asked the boy's name. Ryan lied. saying Leon from the west. Colonel said he was saved thanks to the lady in the carriage. He told him to thank his luck for meeting her, making Ryan force a smile. But he knew it wasn't luck, it was his plan using the Zos family Rosicrest to approach her. He had studied the route to avoid danger, and discovered a Zos family member would travel this road. Their family lived on a remote border. The head just died, so she was leaving home, being minor nobility. Her escort was merely household guards granted temporary knight status. A green-haired man lamented her hardship, others agreeing. Ryan pondered the collapse of House Zos. The green-haired man blamed Se-min. Ryan recalled what had learned the head's death forced Sanju into exile. He wondered what role Se-min played. Colonel argued it wasn't Se-min's fault. The green-haired man defensively cited rumors. He claimed Se-min used foul play to kill the head to hide collusion. Surprising Ryan. At midnight, they camped in the forest under the high moon. One group tended the horses, another cooked soup and rested. Ryan leaned against a rock, eyes closed, relaxing. You review all info gathered today. The Kongsai house fell due to conflict between Se-min and Peyton. Schumann of Dylan opposed Peyton of Fanzua. Yet Zos' eldest served as Schumann's knight. While patrolling the Dark Lands, he was slain by monsters, and Schumann vowed major aid and remembrance. Jealous nobles allied with Peyton and targeted Zosi. Fueled by rumors, they served Se-min. Schumann was framed for killing the patriarch to silence Zosi, who accused Peyton of plotting murder but couldn't resist their power. With their patriarch lost, Zosi declined and sought asylum in Dylan. Kalong was among the few knights still alive. He and a few loyalists protected Lady Sanjiao, but they were merely temporarily appointed knights. Leon quietly worried about the perilous exile. In the calm night, the knights kept watch in shifts. Lady Zosi slept peacefully for a while. Outside, Kalong retold the past, while Ajin's second son watched the lady with gloom. He affirmed the real culprits were Peyton and Ajin, not Schumann. They had even helped request asylum in Dalan. Lion listened silently while eating. Kalong tossed a stick into the fire, saying Schumann still gave full support. Hearing this, the group cheered and toasted Schumann. Someone noticed Lion and offered him more soup, which he accepted. That man asked if he was bored. Leon politely said it was interesting, though he felt even more involved than them. He then worriedly asked if it was fine for a child like him to hear all this. A knight suspected he was staging things to ask for help, chilling Leon as it hit his weak spot. Another eased the tension, saying now Captain Kanger had vented. He felt lighter. The green-haired one sighed that Lady Zosi suffered the most. Lion nodded. Yes, the key was Sanjiao. Kanger and his team were too inexperienced to see the full danger. Leon closed his eyes, sensing the threat drawing near. Peyton and Ajin's vicious faces surfaced. He knew they wouldn't stop. Especially Ajin's second son, under 20 yet with 3 kill orders on him. Lion had refused those contracts as unworthy, but knew the man bullied the weak. Rumor said he was very cautious and hard to approach. Lion feared if that man targeted the lady, disaster would come. This was no time to relax and camp. Suddenly he sensed someone lurking by a distant cliff. He instantly shifted position to observe. He felt a group trailing them, likely having reported the route. Instead of killing them, traps to slow them would work better. When he returned, everyone asked why his hair was dirty. He laughed it off, saying he slipped. The knights believed him and told him to rest his injured leg. Unaware of the digging tools he hid, he had dug many pit traps to hinder pursuers, intending to escort the group only to the next village, considering it payment for the soup. He slept soundly. Next morning, the sun was up. As the group moved on, Lion said goodbye. Kanger asked why a kid headed into the dark zone alone. Lion proudly said he traded monster materials for profit. The bald man said everyone had their own path, so they parted ways. Suddenly Kanger handed him a small vial. He said to drink it before sunset. It was a message from the lady. Lion asks in surprise if it's really for him. Through the carriage window, Lady Zosi smiles and waves in peace. Kanger blushes, relaying her thanks for the calm he brought. He can only widen his eyes in shock. The story closes with reluctant farewells and a warning not to seek them again. From afar comes praise that the captain is kind despite his words. She urges the group onward since he only seems hard to approach. Leon silently watches their silhouettes fade. He sighs while looking at the potion bottle, then gently opens the lid and drinks it all in one go. Only a few drops fall to the ground. Suddenly an explosion erupts with black smoke rising. Countless horses thunder toward him. Burly masked soldiers rush past Leon, leaving him no time to grasp it. He quickly identifies 6 trackers and 2 hired guards, along with 2 large rookie swordsmen, plus 1 troublesome mage. He notes a radiant aura and guesses the masked one is a noble, the second son of that clan. Ruda Ajin grins with delight. For a moment they pass each other closely. Their eyes reveal subtle, unreadable intent, exposing each one's hidden schemes. Lion coldly scans the aggressive group, and once they pass, silence returns. He concludes their power is higher than expected and the trap's insufficient. Worse, he already drank the entire vial. Seeing the empty bottle, he realizes it was costly recovery medicine. Lion can only smile in frustration. He recalls the unreasonable generosity of the lady he met for one night. The truth, the Zosi house has no way back and will be caught and killed. Though he exceeded his payment, he sees it as extra deposit. If those pursuers chase the carriage, more will die, so support is needed. He channels magic and summons a mysterious entity. It appears in varied forms. He gives it a first mission filled with killing intent. The night group has already traveled far. Hoofbeats behind grow more urgent. A Sharpie girl notices an anomaly. He urges everyone to speed up, confusing the group. Kanger rides close, telling Lanzosi to endure the jolts. The green-haired man wonders but can't ask. Then the captain's face changes and he shouts that pursuers are upon them. Mana users are rushing right behind. He points ahead and orders them to cross the border immediately. He calls Chaku and Jian, saying if caught, protect the lady and ride straight across. Once across, even Ajin won't dare touch them for fear of Delan troops. The group accelerates while Kalong stays to block and fight. Chaku reluctantly obeys, wishing the captain to meet them at the border. Kanji relaxes slightly in size, then gathers courage, turns back, and reminds himself Ajin is nothing. He serves Zosi. Over to Ajin's side, the chase squad keeps charging. Ruta suddenly halts mid-road, a wave of sword ki slashes down. Blocking the way with a shout to stop, Kalong demands their names and warns them not to chase the Zuosi. He threatens to behead them if they refuse to retreat. Ruta laughs, his soldiers unfazed. He mocks the beheading threat, then asks if being a knight lets him act so arrogant. He pulls down his hood, leaving Kalong stunned at the sight of brutal Ajin. A swordsman warns his master not to show his face, but Ruta says killing all removes the worry. He orders them to capture the lady alive before the border. The subordinates launch forward at full speed. Kalong freezes, then takes a defensive stance. But when he strikes, he panics as the swordsmen pass through him like phantoms. He realizes a strong mage is among them. Kanger coughs blood violently. Ruta boasts that his ally handled it for him. As Kanger collapses coughing, someone steps before him. It's a familiar face, and Ruta declares he will die here. Kanger is shocked, confronting Jost's former captain. Ruta cuts in, saying he betrayed for money and Jost is finished. The man then charges with terrifying speed. Two former comrades now face each other as enemies. Kanger still asks why he abandoned the Knight's Code. He answers coldly that times have changed and ideals mean nothing. Catching an opening, he blasts Kanger away with a heavy strike. He says Esili to surrender, for war is here and he can still switch sides. Kanger roars for him to stop speaking such treachery. Ruta urges him to finish quickly since the lady is likely already captured. The traitor's blade touches Kanger's neck as he asks if he stands alone. Suddenly another sword slashes him. It hits the traitor's back, staggering him aside. Ruta startles and turns. A glowing blue entity hovers before them. It's the beast, luckily arriving in time. The traitor, confused, shouts asking who attacked him. The entity ignores him and unleashes another strike. A barrage of magic arrows shoots toward the agent's squad. A violent explosion follows, shaking the area. The mage forms a shield, telling Ruita he tried blocking with mana blades but failed. The traitor takes the full hit, limbs twisted and vomiting blood. The entity moves like lion incarnate. It laughs with wild excitement. Scene shifts near the border. The battlefield is strewn with corpses and blood. Sanjo's carriage has a broken wheel and the horse collapsed. Chaku and Geza, badly wounded, struggle to stand. They know they won't last much longer. The agent jeer that they only pretend to be knights. Geijo laments they can't withstand the enemy when a voice inside the carriage orders them to stop. The lady steps out and calls their names. Geiyu panics and tries to stop her from exiting, but she draws a knife, saying she'll surrender if they spare her guards, otherwise she'll kill herself and drag them down. She holds the blade to her throat, insisting their master wouldn't want this. Ruta laughs, saying she misunderstood before reaching Dalen Shi's neither noble nor ally. She freezes in shock. He adds there's no reason to obey her. As she falters, a thug grabs her hair, seizes the knife, and threatens to show what defying a mana knight means. Chaku and Gain can only scream for their lady. Lan closes her eyes, bracing for the pain, when a dark figure bolts in like lightning. Lyul, once limping, now shatters the thug's jaw with a crushing kick. Lan gasps, tears stopping mid-fall. Liahun lands ruggedly after felling an agent fighter. Bruta rushes forward in alarm. Lion slips past him, glancing at the downed foe with disdain, saying the opponent is too weak, making the potion's cost feel wasted. He raises his dagger and oddly asks Lan if she wants to hire the assassin Mating to finish the rest. Lan freezes, realizing he is the killer mating. Lion only smiles, letting her recall his true identity. Brutal recognizes the alias and demands why someone from Ixama helps the Zosi. Only now Lan understands he is the famed assassin mating. She seizes the chance and offers 30 gold coins. Lion grins darkly, praising her quick response but saying it's not enough. He says that amount only covers killing the knight before him. Stunning Lan, he adds that removing the second fighter, the ex-captain, and the tier 3 mage costs far more, thus 30 gold is nowhere near sufficient. Brutal pales, cursing him internally. Lion urges her to choose quickly or hell leave. Lan hesitates, knowing losing him means their escape collapses. She recalls her crest and clenches her fist to protect Zosi, then swallows hard and makes her final choice. In that moment she steals her resolve, and boldly declares she'll give him everything he wants. Lion eagerly grabs his hood, pulls it down, revealing his excited face and accepting the contract. Brutal lowers his head, upset at an assassin daring to show himself. Lion answers while brandishing his knife that hiding is for timid killers. A true assassin makes no mistakes, then he launches forward. A streak of blue slices through the air. At its end, blood sprays too fast to see. His dagger buries deep in Brutal before he can react. Lion says he stands tall even revealed. The sight leaves Lan stunned. Seeing the youth, she knows this is her first true contract with mating, and the price is the entire Zosi house. Lyol smirks wickedly, eager to carve his name boldly. Brutal insists they won't fall so easily. He laughs, mocking the opponent's arrogance. Lion narrows his eyes at the challenge. Suddenly another swordsman charges from behind yelling die. The whistle of wind warns of the incoming strike. Lion leaps away at the last instant. He lands safely as the attacker resets his stance. The man berates Brutal for lying there, then reminds him their foe is mating, not some nobody. Brutal regains focus and with his partner uses their specialty position swap tactics. He vows to make Lian regret it as both rush in. Lian exhales blandly, saying really, then triggers 2 power boost states and charges them. He delivers a light, mocking kick. They panic, unable to read mana from his illusions. The hooded one tries to counter, shouting, but Brutal snaps at him to cooperate since true and false forms blur. Lion smiles, saying it's too late. He appears right before the target scanning for him. Brutal mutters doubts about illusion magic, wondering why there's no mana flow at all. By then Lian is already behind him. Someone screams and swings wildly, forcing Lian to dodge while Brutal scolds him to sync timing. Lian faces Brutal, stating he activated body awakening and auditory distortion skills. A dark blue surge slams Brutal's face as he realizes it's a curse-type Somaster ability. Blood erupts with a terrified scream. With 2 swift slashes, both foes are decapitated. Lion flicks the blood off, making them pay for the Zuosi souls they killed. Sunset casts gold over the mountainside. Enemy corpses are tied with red cloth and loaded onto horses. A weary figure limps forward, leaving a long trail of blood. It is Kinyu, smiling as he calls the lady despite exhaustion. She weeps, asking if anyone is hurt. Hearing her, Lan turns to look at Kinyu. Seeing him alive, she grabs his hand emotionally. Lion stands nearby with a mysterious smile. Kinyu asks the others if they're alright. Chaku, shocked, asks if he defeated the pursuers. Kinyu snaps, asking if he looks like that capable, making them wave frantically. He steps aside to reveal the beast, saying the mage did it. He excitedly claims they killed the traitor, the mage, and captured Ruid alive. Lan eyes the beast and suspects it was all Lian. Lion is manipulating an array under his hands. He lifts his hand, making the array glow bright blue. The beast dissolves and Ruida collapses powerless. Kinyu asks why Lian turned out like this. She laughs, saying he is the assassin mating. He is stunned. He recalls the mage being cleaved and admits it was terrifying, saying that mage deserved such a disgraceful death. Ruida, bruised and dazed, calls out mating's name. Panicked, he offers triple the gold if spared, then scolds Lan, saying assassins take coin, not people as payment. Hearing him babble, Lion snaps at him to shut up. One strike splits him in half. He only manages a cry before dying. Lion wipes lingering mana and growls who dares treat him like a Lodier killer. He steps toward Lan, reminding her of the promised reward since mating tolerates no oathbreaker. He gestures threateningly, warning her how ruthless an assassin's path is. She trembles at his killing aura, but he changes his mind, saying she need pay now knowing Zosi is in turmoil. Sweat pours from Lan. He smiles, saying she only needs to request the 30 gold payment to mating. The rest is private terms. She nods immediately. He bids farewell, telling them to regroup and continue their journey. Cleanup will be handled by mating at the border. They should simply report a bandit attack. Gazon and Chaku look at him gratefully for the thorough plan. Kinyu praises the swift cleanup. He tries to say more about Lian. Hearing his name, Lion turns, then smiles and snaps his fingers, mana lifting him into the air. He vanishes, stunning them all. Chaku panics, unable to believe he truly disappeared. Seeing the fading mana, Kinyu exclaims the assassin mating. He closes his eyes, saying that may not be Lian's whole truth. He suggests calling himself an assassin might be only one facet, for the undead he controls are far from ordinary. He recalls the beast and its terrifying power, and the blast it caused surpassing frontline mages. He remembers Lian's eyes. The brief exchange felt sentient. The image of the frenzied beast returns vividly. Kinyu continues analyzing how he slew both swordsman and mage. His voice dims as he realizes the near-simultaneous speed and strength. Lan trembles more with each word. Kinyu's face now glows with excitement at the thought of mightier undead control. A legendary Soulmaster Veda's silhouette forms in his mind, a skull-faced figure radiating dense mana from eye sockets and mouth, or perhaps Veda's successor,